Welcome to Multifamily '08, Amenity ROI without the guesswork, a decision framework for what to build and what to skip. In Multifamily '07, we talked about the efficiency, the unit mix, the net to gross, and where the projects quietly lose yield. Today, we're going one level deeper into one of the biggest places that yield and budget quietly drift, which is amenities. Amenities are not bad. In fact, amenities can support rent, absorption, retention, and resident experience. The problem is that when amenities are chosen by preference or trend or the comps have it, without asking what job the amenity is supposed to do. Today, I'll give you a tool called the Amenity ROI Decision Framework, plus an amenity accountability register so your team can decide what to build, the right size, defer, or skip without guessing. The decision that we're improving in this episode is which amenities actually support the deal and which ones add cost, space, and operating burden without enough return. That return may show up in different ways. It may be rent premiums. It might be faster absorption. It might be better retention. It might reduce operating friction. Or it might be table stakes for the market. But if the amenity can't name its job, it should not be treated as a priority. Amenity decisions drift because they feel subjective. Someone likes the idea. A competitor has it. Leasing says that prospects ask about it. Ownership wants the project to feel premium. Design finds a place for it. None of those are automatically wrong, but without a decision framework, amenities become one of the easiest ways for scope to grow, net to gross to fall, and operations to get harder, and budget to drift. Amenities need jobs, not just square footage. Let's define ROI in a practical way. For amenities, ROI does not always mean a clean spreadsheet where one amenity equals one rent increase. Sometimes you can measure that, but often you can't. So for this episode, ROI means, does the amenity justify its cost, space, complexity, and operating burden based on the job it is supposed to do? That is the key. A fitness room may support market expectation. A co-working area may support absorption for a specific renter profile. Package management may reduce operations friction, and a rooftop lounge may support premium positioning, or it may become expensive space that does not move the rent. The question is not, is this amenity nice? The question is, what job does it do? And is that job worth the trade-off? The common mistake is copying the comp set without understanding the reason. The building down the street has this, so we need it too. Maybe, but maybe not. A comp amenity exists because that project has a different renter profile, different rents, different operations models, different parking conditions, different unit sizes, or a different capital stack. So the safer question is, what renter behavior are we trying to influence? Are we trying to increase rent, lease faster, improve retention, reduce staff friction, or match a baseline expectation? If we can't answer that, we're guessing. The tool for this episode is the Amenity ROI Decision Framework, and it has 4 parts. First, we're going to choose the amenity's primary job. Second, we're going to score the amenity against evidence, impact, space efficiency, and operating burden. And third, we're going to decide, build, right size, defer, or skip. And fourth, we're going to log the decision in the amenity accountability register so it doesn't reappear later as unmanaged scope, The goal is not to eliminate amenities. The goal is to make amenities accountable. Let me show you how this works. At the top, we start with the amenity jobs. Before we score anything, we pick the primary job. Is this amenity supposed to support a rent premium, absorption, retention, operations, or is it a market expectation? Now, we move to the scorecard. For each amenity, we score demand or comp evidence, revenue or absorption or retention impact, space efficiency and opportunity cost, and the operating burden. And notice the last column, the decision is not just yes or no. The decision is build, right size, defer, or skip. And that matters because many amenities are not bad ideas. They're just oversized. They're poorly timed or they're operationally heavy. Now, the amenity accountability register turns that decision into ownership. What is the evidence? What does it cost or displace? Who owns the operating burden? What is the decision gate? And what is the next action? This is how amenities stop being preferences and start becoming decisions. Step 1 is to choose the job. There are 5 common amenity jobs. Rent premium, will this support higher achievable rent? Absorption, will this help the project lease faster? Third, retention, will this help residents stay longer or feel more satisfied? 4 is operations. Will this reduce friction, staffing load, security risk, or a maintenance burden? And 5 is the market expectation. Is this a table stakes for this renter profile and comp set? The discipline is to pick the primary job. If one amenity claims to do everything, the team usually has not made the decision clearly enough. Step 2 is scoring. We score the amenity across 4 areas. First is the demand and the comparable evidence. Is there real evidence that the rental profile values this? Second is the revenue, absorption, or retention impact. Does it support the business case? And third, space efficiency and opportunity cost. What does the amenity displace? Could the area support more rentable value, better operations, or a more efficient plan? And fourth is the operating burden and risk. Who staffs it? Who cleans it? Who maintains it? Does it create security or management issues? That fourth one gets ignored all too often. An amenity can look good in renderings and still be a bad operating decision. The most overlooked amenity cost is the opportunity cost. That means, what are you giving up? Amenities are usually area. They use budget and they add coordination. They can add staffing, they can add maintenance, they can add security and replacement costs. So when someone says, can we add this? The answer should not be only, does it fit? The better question is, what does it displace? Does it reduce rentable area? Does it compete with unit quality? Does it complicate MEP? Does it increase operating burden? Does it take a budget away from something that's more important? This is where amenities either support predictability or quietly erode it. Step 3 is the decision. There are 4 possible outcomes. Building means strong evidence, clear job, manageable cost, and a manageable operating burden. Right size means that the amenity has a valid job, but the scope is too big and too complex or too expensive. Defer means the amenity may be useful, but the evidence or timing is not strong enough to commit now. You may create shell space or design flexibility or revisit it at a defined gate. Skip means that the amenity is preference driven, weakly supported, too costly, too operationally heavy, or not relevant to the renter profile. The point is not to be cheap. The point is to spend where it actually supports the project. Here's how to run this in 45 minutes. In the first 5 minutes, we've got to confirm the renter profile, the comparable set, and the lease-up strategy. The next 10 minutes, we want to list the candidate amenities and choose a primary job for each one. The next 15 minutes, we're going to score the amenities for evidence, impact, space efficiency, and the operating burden. The next 10 minutes, we're going to decide, is this a build, right size, defer, or skip? And we're going to log the trade rules. The last 5 minutes, we're going to assign owners and publish the amenity accountability register. The output is simple: a shorter, clearer amenity list that protects the deal, the resident experience, and the operating plan. If you're relying on your architect to know what amenities need to go into your building, you're using hope. So let's recap. Amenities need jobs, not just square footage. Before committing scope, ask, what job does this amenity do? What evidence supports it? What does it cost or displace? And who owns the operating burden? And should we build, right size, defer, or skip? In the next episode, we'll move on to design to budget. This is how to hold the line without late stage value engineering. Because once you know which amenities actually deserve to survive, the next challenge is keeping the whole project aligned with the budget before the cuts get painful.